You like movies?
Yeah, I like movies.
So do the boys on We Doing Filmographies.
What is...
As they crank out episodes on rad actors they like, you can discover that Ray Liotta's first role has him doing a bad thing with a hose.
Are you talking to me, though?
Or how in Ding-a-Ling List, Robert Longstreet donates his penis to his penisless best friend.
Kind of feel like you're doing...
Does that sound pretty cool?
Yeah.
Not as cool as Brad Pitt seeing his reflection for the first time and saying he looks like Mother.
Okay, I don't know what...
Tune in to We Doing Filmographies podcast on all podcast platforms and listen to Jason and Jules wade through garbage, gold, and boredom one movie at a time.
Wait, us?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what we doing filmographies.
You're listening to Champion Cinema with Chris and Chris.
Do you have a specific champion you want to do this week? Any specific? You said last week we're going to do a champion at the start of each show and it related to the movie. Do Patrick Stewart champion?
Yes, I think we'll go with Patrick Stewart, if I can do a Patrick Stewart.
Just do it in the way he says engage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
See if I can do it. Champion.
That was amazing. It's fucked up because I don't have one. I was going to try and do a champion as Grace Jones, and I was like, what does Grace Jones actually sound like?
Who knows best on this film?
No, I know, yeah. Anyway, hello folks, and welcome to Champion Cinema. I almost said Chris and Chris show there. My brain just went out like 3 months ago. Welcome to the Chris and... Fuck's sake. I'm very tired. Welcome to Champion Cinema. I'm Chris with a Carlson C.
And I'm Chris with a Katrina K.
We've got a double bill because we've been doing a lot of like tough guy action stuff. So we're still, but weirdly, a lot of 80s stuff. Everything we've done lately has been the 80s. We're gonna have to do some 90s stuff next week.
Yeah, we're gonna have to modernise it.
Yeah, we'll modernise it with something from 1990. Yeah, like a double bill of vampire movies, like sort of not your top tier 80s vamp, not your Near Darks, your Fright Nights, your Lost Boys.
Yeah.
We'll be taking a look at Lifeforce, which is space vampires, and Vamp, starring Grace Jones.
Yeah.
Nothing to get to. No one's died. No big news has happened.
The only thing I would probably just give a timestamp and a shout out to is Akira Toriyama died this week. The guy that did all the art for Dragon Ball and stuff. And he created the art. Well, he did the art anyway for the Dragon Quest games and stuff.
How old was he then?
He was quite young, I think, 60-something. I think he died of, like, something. I don't think it was quite this, but it was, like, along the lines of, like, aneurysm or something. Yeah, bless him.
That's a shame.
Yeah, so, yeah, pretty crazy. Because, obviously, he had, like, a massive effect on just the world in general in terms of, like, his Dragon Ball art and stuff and that. It bled into other anime and then into movies and stuff. So,
That's a hell of a legacy he's left behind, though, Jesus.
Massively, yeah. Yeah, bless him.
Speaking of other sad news, I finished Clerks 3 the other day.
No, finally. It took me about 3 months.
It took us 3 watches, three separate sitting.
Yeah, it's an unnecessary and strange gut punch.
Yeah, I don't even want it. It's too sad. I don't even want to talk about it.
No, it's like the opposite of a love letter. You know when you get movies that are love letters to the fans, this is like a big fuck you to the fans.
I don't quite understand what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
But anyway,
yes.
Let's get a lot of naked vampires, really. There's a lot of nudity in these two movies.
Yeah, common theme.
That is the theme, yeah. Vampire titties, that's the theme this week.
Champion Cinema.
So Lifeforce was released in 1985. Runs for 1 hour 56 minutes if you're watching the extended international cut, or 1 hour 41 minutes if you're watching the standard theatrical version. Directed by Toby Hooper, and this was the first of Hooper's 3-picture deal with Cannon. It's amusing as well. Another link. We ended with a Cannon movie last week, starting with a Cannon movie this week. It stars Steve Railsback as Carlson, Peter Firth as Kane, Matilda May as Space Girl, Frank Finlay as Falada. Am I pronouncing that right? Falada?
I think so. That's how it's written, isn't it? Anyway.
Yeah. And Patrick Stewart as Dr. Armstrong. But what is the story of space vampires?
Well, a group of international scientists on a space mission to Halley's Comet aboard a derelict ship. Amongst a plethora of desiccated, bat-like humanoid corpses, they find 3 space vampires, perfectly preserved in suspended animation. One of them has a cracking pair, so they bring them back to the ship, and then ultimately bring them to Earth. Back to good old Blighty, specifically, and all hell breaks loose at that point, and not even a cup of tea and a pack of hobnobs can calm things down.
Nope. You know what's weird as well? That like I was about like 5 minutes from the end of the film, and I was like, this is so weird. This mid-80s movie, primarily, like 95, 96% of the actors are all British.
Yeah.
I didn't recognise anybody. Like, you know, there was no like, oh, it's him from, it was in EastEnders, oh, it was him from Korea, oh, he was in Long Good Friday. None of that. I was like, who are these people?
I think the only thing for me is that I recognised the Peter Firth guy, because he was in Spooks and stuff.
I recognised him. When I looked up what he was in, I was like, and I don't know from anything because I didn't watch Spooks.
I know what you mean, though. Like, normally you'd get, like, I don't know, fucking Phil from EastEnders turning up, like, as a teenager.
One. Yeah.
Yeah, but, like, there's not much of that, like, recognisable British.
I was like, are these all non-union people or something?
Yeah, maybe.
Cannon being like, get me the cheapest people.
After fucking blowing the money on explosions and fire and shit, I guess. Can't blame them, because Christ, we'll get to it, but Christ, that ended. Like, all the money they spent on it.
That's what I was going to say. It's pretty insane that Cannon, like, obviously wanted this to be a big blockbuster, you know, a big 80s blockbuster. So they put like 25 million into it, which was a decent chunk of money for the time still, and a lot for them. But then, they're like full of special effects. They got John Dykstra, notice his name on the credits. He did Star Wars, right?
They did a few Star Trek, like Star Wars, Star Trek. They did, like, obviously, like, Tobe Hooper off the back of Poltergeist. Nick Malley, I noticed his name in the credits. He was the guy that did, like, I think he basically made Yoda. He, like, did that with the puppet and stuff for Yoda and stuff. Alan Hume, who was the director of photography on, like, many Bond films and Return of the Jedi.
I will say it's a very nice looking movie, like cinematography wise.
So I think they were very much determined. I think as well I saw a few names from 2001: Space Odyssey as well.
That wouldn't surprise us. Yeah.
So probably for the spacey bits at the start. So I think they were obviously determined that this is going to be the fucking massive block, but like another Star Wars
big smash hit of the 80s. Yeah, they decided to go that route with a film that's just full of nudity and gore. It's like were they just not really aware that wouldn't go over very well in the mainstream, or were they trying to make like the first blockbuster genre movie that's just fucking, you know, because it's such a bizarre film for like there's certain shots where you're like, wow, this looks like it cost a lot. And then there's just blood arcing out of people's eyeballs on a helicopter, and you're like, what? I
think I don't know if it was, I'm not 100% sure on this, but the quote's like definite, but I'm not sure who said it, but it might have been Alan Hume, the director of photography, where he said like he was on set the day when she like, and set up the cameras and was like filming it when Thingy walks down the stairs, Space Girl, and he was like, oh my god, like this is like the most pornographic thing I've ever filmed. It's like, it's like, what a fucking weird choice.
It is weird, yeah. Like, did you I'm not complaining because she's very pretty, but did you have to be completely naked?
Yeah, because another sort of interesting tidbit trivia is like Tobe Hooper I think they made the decision to shave her pubic hair because I think the initial idea was seeing the pubic hair was a problem, and then they shaved it off, and then they were like, it looks way worse with it shaved off. Because you can now just full on see like everything. So they're like, oh my god. So they're like, can you grow your pubic hair back? And she was like, well, you know, I mean, as best as I can. I don't know. Like, how do you willingly grow pubic hair?
Like, what do you want us to do? Just put some compost in my pants.
So just a real mess.
It is funny though that, like, I don't know, the weird like thing, it's just America that has like problem they have with nudity, or like weird double standard. Like that's I mean, a lot of it was trimmed out. Well, not a lot of it, but some of it was trimmed out, wasn't it, for the shorter version?
The gore and the nudity was trimmed for the American audience,
but it'll still be there. Yeah, and that's the weird thing. Like, that's fine, but there's two other naked vampires who are blokes. Every time you see anything below their waist, it's like Austin Powers. There's just a blurry piece of glass in front of some guy's dick.
Yeah, apparently though they wore pink coloured like socks over the penises basically,
yeah.
and I think there's a few scenes where you can see them in freeze frames and stuff.
But it's just funny that like they have to do that. Like there's such a problem with the penis.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh, we gotta get the woman naked and show her consent. It's just a weird double standard.
There was, I mean, I think it's relaxed now, but like there was very strict, even in the UK, like very strict rules on like showing male genitalia and stuff. And
Yeah.
that.
God forbid anyone see a penis.
Total double standard.
Yeah.
But I mean, while we're on the subject, because I mean, it is in many ways one of the highlights of the movie. Like, Christ, she looks good naked.
Yeah.
Like, good
I
God.
like the quote from one of the makeup guys whose job it was to like get rid of any slight imperfection on her skin so she looked perfect. And he was like, it wasn't hard. It's like, she kind of was. Like, it was kind of a great job.
Like crazy. I mean, I guess a perfect find for the movie. Like, I don't know exactly how old, because there's different reports, but she was 18 or 19.
I think she had her 19th birthday during filming. That's what I read.
Yeah, it's across. Actually, I did see that, yeah. But then, obviously, a French ballerina as well. It was like, I mean, aside from the fact she didn't speak English.
Yeah, she learned all her lines phonetically.
But yeah, really, really good. And I think it just really embodies like what they were going for, like this like perfect specimen of,
My God, the perfect specimen.
you know, this like siren-esque female that could beguile
And she has
any
like
man.
a really good presence. Like, she's got really good eyes. Like, she looks like she's literally controlling people with it, but without really doing much. She just has such a good face for this type of character.
And I think like obviously a ballerina sort of background kind of shows through her performance, because she moves really like precisely and creepily and stuff. So yeah, it's a really cool performance by her. Bless her. Yeah.
Weirdly though, like I was looking up, what is it? 7 minutes of total screen time.
Yeah, hardly in it, really.
It weirdly feels like more than that, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, because she's really, I guess, really present in the movie. Like, she's there in the start, middle, and end, pretty much.
Yeah.
I was kind of disappointed on watching the movie that, like, the character body jumps at one point. And I was like, well, that's kind of a shame. But I suppose, I wonder if they did that just because of the language barrier.
Maybe,
you know. Although, obviously, it is based on a book.
Yeah, that's probably all the book as well.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I suppose one thing I want to really talk about is just how surprised I was at, like you've kind of mentioned it, the Englishness of it all. It's quite surprising, really.
Yeah.
Don't really know. I wasn't really expecting it to be that English. Like, it's set in Great Britain. You know, most of the cast are British and the characters and stuff.
I think like maybe Steve Railsback and like the crew at the start, like there's a few more Americans in there, but it's mainly just Steve Railsback that's like the main American in the movie. There's a few German actors and mainly British actors.
Yeah.
And of course Matilda May was French.
Yeah. And just, you know, all the talk of like, oh, bloody hell, we've got to get the Home Secretary on the telephone.
Yeah.
And stuff, and it's like, oh, feels very British.
The moment where he's watching like old BBC News from the mid-80s and stuff.
Yeah, and he was actually a newsreader, him. I remember him from the time. So yeah, quite funny. One of my favourite bits, not quite a highlight, but just made us chuckle. I think it's when shit really starts hitting the fan towards the end of the movie, and they go to like the military base, and there's just some like secretary who's calmly going like, "Would you gentlemen like a cup of tea?"
Yeah, I did like that as well. There's always, even in the apocalypse, there's always time for a cup of tea.
Like, just be like, no love, the fucking world is coming to an end around our ears.
Maybe later, maybe in a bit.
How about fetch me a gun?
Give me some fucking space garlic.
Yeah. Yeah, good. But, yeah, what did you think of it, I suppose? Because I guess, I don't want to presume, but it's not your usual kind of movie.
No, obviously, it's been on my radar for years, just because it's a canon movie and it's a Tobe Hooper movie. But I always meant to pick up the Arrow Blu-ray at some point, just never got around to it. But I liked it. I thought it kind of... I'll get to it later with criticisms, but like it didn't hold me attention throughout. I think I would have preferred the theatrical cut length anyway.
Yeah,
I don't know what
yeah.
they cut out exactly, but like
Well, it's strange. I was reading just before we started recording that one key element they cut out is the opening sequence. A lot of the opening sequence.
Yeah.
It's all just explained in a text crawl in the American version.
well, there's the version that's available, and then there's like a Toby Hooper director's cut, which is about 15 minutes long, which isn't available, and that's even more space stuff at the start.
Yeah.
But it says also, I read that it said that cut had like all the scenes that you see later in a flashback as well. And I'm like, that wouldn't make much sense though, because that's part of the plot. That I like that you don't see everything, that he explains it like half an hour later.
Me too. I kind of like that mystery of it's
What
like
happened,
a time jump. It's like 30 days later.
Yeah.
And they come across the ship and everyone's dead and stuff, and it's like layers of an onion peeled away sort of through the film. It's cool,
I think maybe I think it's maybe information getting crossed over the edge, because that wouldn't make sense. Because obviously there's a whole scene where he sits down and goes, "I'm going to tell you what happened." Like it's a big reveal. So I think probably what happened was there was more leading up to what happened, and then it cuts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think it just shows that entire thing. Then half an hour later he explains it again. That wouldn't make much sense.
But I know what you mean though about there's something not quite right about the pacing of the movie.
It's like the 45-minute mark was when I started when they basically go when the body jump stuff starts happening.
It kind of slows down,
and they're just like going from lead to lead for like 20 minutes, and I was like, come on, get on with this.
yeah, because in some ways I like that stuff. I felt like, the Peter Firth like investigating and stuff, and I liked that.
Yeah,
but it was like a strange change of pace for a movie that didn't quite need that change of pace.
It's been quite like, especially out there and wacky with like sucking the life out of people. They're just like shriveled corpses, a naked woman wandering around like killing people, blue vapor coming off her and stuff, and then it just like becomes like an episode of fucking Spectre Morse or something.
Yeah, it really does. It has that feel, yeah. And then, like, one of them things where if you know Patrick Stewart's in the movie, you're like waiting for an hour for Patrick Stewart to appear and stuff, and then he finally does that at that point in the movie, and like I said, very much feels like a different pace or it changes style completely.
I did love that little moment, because afterwards I went back and watched it, and I was like, it's just so brilliantly delivered, where like the original line was, "He's been bad," but then Toby Hooper and Patrick Stewart were talking to Patrick Stewart, was like, "What about if I say naughty?"
Yeah. It's like, I like that.
He's like, yeah, do that, say naughty.
And it totally works.
It does, yeah.
He's been naughty. He's just in solitary confinement.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I know I'm an easy mark for it, but fucking hell, Patrick Stewart, he acts the shit out of this movie.
He does, yeah, because it's one of those things, I guess, in hindsight, it feels like a Patrick Stewart cameo, but it's not. It's just a small role he had in the mid-'80s, but so it's like amusing now to see him turn up in a film like this, I guess.
Yeah, because he's such, for me especially, big Star Trek fan and stuff, he's like, he sticks out like a sore thumb. And like when he turns up in the movie, it's like, wow, he just comes crashing into the movie.
He does,
like the first time, I think you hear him before you see him, and you just hear his booming voice, like, howdy do?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, there you go, there's Patrick Stewart. And he does such a good job. If anything, he kind of makes the other actors look a bit bad in some of the scenes, because it's like he's just better than the movie deserves, basically.
Comes in there with all his fucking theatre swagger, showing everyone up.
Because I'll save it to the criticism stuff. Actually, I was going to get into some criticisms, but I'll save it to the end. I loved some of the obviously the creature effects, I guess, for want of a better word. The special effects, I thought they were pretty mad. Yeah,
there was like a weird crossover that, like, I don't think it has anything to do with this. It's just a weird coincidence. Like when they get all shriveled, like have the life sucked out of them, basically, and they're like the shriveled corpses. It reminded us of the half zombie from Return of the Living Dead that they strapped to the table and talked to, and then I was like, that's weird, because Dan O'Bannon wrote both of them.
Yeah, well, I guess it's just that technology, though, isn't it? Like the animatronic operated by cable.
I don't know if it was like any of the same effects guys were involved, and they both came out the same year as well, coincidentally. So
yeah, well, they said, I know primarily that the work was supervised and done by Nick Malley, who does Yoda and stuff. So I think he was very proud of this as a piece of work.
Yeah, you should be.
Yeah, because, Christ, for the time, it's like mind-blowing, really, what they accomplished. I think it was like 20-odd people had to puppeteer those things
Yeah.
and stuff.
'Cause you can see, like, it's just the detail of, like, you can see, like, the lip curl and nostrils flare and stuff. Like, I can imagine that would take a good amount of people to control that.
Like hiding under the table and all that sort of stuff. The classic. On that point with the puppets, I saw that they were that good. The puppets, they reused them in The Mummy, apparently.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
in 1999. So like bloody over a decade later.
I'm surprised they're still like held up. Depends what they're made out of, I guess.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Oh, maybe it's the fact that they were decaying. Maybe it worked for The Mummy, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it probably would. Yeah. I like the guy, the doctor that's freaking out and he just runs at the bars and explodes. That was a good moment.
Yeah. It's very like chaotic. The way they all get sprayed with like the dust. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh my god! Like the dude that played the Home Secretary. It's like it almost goes in his mouth. Basically. It's like, oh god. Like, fuck.
What did you think of all the opening scene with you being more of a sci-fi fan than me, like all the stuff on the ship?
Yeah, that was like space porn for me.
I thought it would be. I was like, I bet Lana was loving this.
Like from a person who absolutely adores the first Star Trek motion picture and stuff, people complain about that film. They're like, oh, there's massive long gratuitous 5-minute scenes and stuff. I'm like, I love that stuff.
Yeah, because it does really take its time.
Yeah.
Like I was going to say the start reminded us of, weirdly again, because it's Dan O'Bannon, Alien.
Yeah.
And The Thing, when they arrive and everything's messed up and they're trying to figure out what happened. It's like a nice combo of The Thing and Alien.
And also, I made a note of this, like hints of Event Horizon as well.
Yeah.
Like coming across a big derelict ship and everyone on board is dead. And it's an international space crew. It's literally like beat for beat like the start of Event Horizon, basically. Yeah. I noticed the classic Aliens door shutting noise as well. They're like boo when the door comes across. Yeah. But the space stuff was amazing. Like absolute credit to the set designers and just like crazy British craftsmanship of the time of like creating these sets, because there was a few visual shots in the movie at the start, but a lot of it was just all like in camera big fuck off sets, like people suspended on wires and stuff, and it's like, god, it's mad that they did all that. Like when they find them in those crystal chambers and stuff, that was all just like a massive set. Like crazy. And it's just even like, I don't mean to put Canon down, I love Canon, but like, they made like more on the schlocky side, like lower budget side. So like you could, like they made Death Wish 3 the same year. That's what I'm saying. Like that's how crazy this looks for a Canon movie. Well, they hired basically the famous Bond studio, the like 007 studio, and also like one of the studios where like Empire Strikes Back and stuff was filmed as well. So they really were like splashing the cash on this film. Well, there was like, they went over budget, and this is why people always loved working for Canon, because like they kind of didn't care. Which was probably, the downfall. Yeah, ultimately. But they would say like, I don't know, they were going over budget and like things were taking too long, and like I think it was Toby who rang them up and they told them about it, and they were like, keep going, fuck it. Yeah. Like they were just excited about the movie, and everyone says like, I loved working for Canon. And I'm like, I would too. I heard that they were like very hands off, basically. Yeah, they were just they just trusted the filmmakers. Yeah, crazy. You wouldn't. They would be like a breath of fresh air now. Yeah. Like I said, it's probably one of the reasons, sadly, why they went under. It is, yeah. I think they went a bit too crazy during the 80s. Yeah, this probably didn't help. Like this, Superman 4. Because sadly, this film was like canny a flop. Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, did not do well. I mean, unfortunately, it had a hell of a summer release sort of competition thing, because it went up against what was it? It was like Cocoon, First Blood 2, Rambo was out, and The Goonies as well. Mm-hmm. And I think it literally went head to head. Like it released on the same day as Cocoon. Oh, well, that's, and it's just like fucking, how big Cocoon was randomly. You're not going to fucking win a fight against Gutenberg, are you? Not 1985. Fuck off. No way. Exactly. So it did better in Britain and internationally, I think, than it did in America. Which is kind of makes sense, I guess, with just the feel of the movie and stuff. Well, yeah, I wonder if they like marketed the
British trailer more towards that it was set in London for most of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Naked space vampires attack London.
But I got notes. I think Toby Hooper like achieved what he was going for in terms of like there's times where I got notes of like Hammer horror. Mm-hmm. Some of the gothicness, like when like the chapel at the end.
I was going to say, especially the end with which is like in the chapel and stuff. Yeah, that felt very classic horror.
And the random like iron sword that just comes out of nowhere.
I was going to ask, did that fucking drop off or something? Like, where did he find this fucking sword?
I don't even think it's mentioned. I think it's just supposed to be something he's researched and come up with, like, because he's kind of familiar with the history of vampires.
Okay.
He theorizes that the vampires of old in legend are the same species. So he theorizes that this ancient weapon is like also something that would kill the ones that are.
Thinking back in hindsight, it almost feels like, I didn't think this at the time, but now that you've said that, it's almost like he's like a Van Helsing type character, but like it kind of just hangs back.
Yeah, he doesn't really do much randomly, does he?
No.
And then just willingly dies, I guess, pretty much. Mm-hmm. So you can experience going up to the mothership. He
looked terrifying though when he was starting to bubble up and transform and stuff. That really freaked us out.
Yeah, that was a really good scene. Again, like just the effects throughout the movie are really cool. Yeah.
Going back to the, what I was saying before, that reminded us of the thing. A weird coincidence. I didn't know this actually because I was reading up just about like Toby Hooper's time at Canon to like refresh my memory. In the late 70s, Universal approached him first to do a remake of The Thing.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
No, I didn't know that either.
In like 77, 78, but his version was going to be, it was going to be almost like a Moby Dick kind of thing with like a character called the Captain chasing like not a shapeshift monster in the Arctic.
Good.
That would have been insane.
Yeah, completely different. Yeah, alternate universe somewhere where that's a thing.
Also, I also didn't know, thanks to this movie, that disaster is Latin for evil star.
Yes.
I learned something. I did not know that.
Yeah, it's educational as well as entertaining.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think Stacey remarked on that. Like, she found that, like, mind blown.
Yeah.
The whole disaster thing. Yeah, because it all stems from, literally, comets being heralded as, like, you know, signs of doom and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, it's very educational.
Yeah.
Another weird connection as well that I thought, I doubt, maybe it's a fucking influence, I don't know, but with us playing through the Mass Effect trilogy again for like the 85th time recently, kind of funny at the end, like, you know, Mass Effect 3 opens with aliens attacking London, and they mentioned that the ship is, he calls the ship a collector.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they were the bad guys in Mass Effect 2. That's weird.
Yeah, just random connection to things that are going on in your life at that time.
Yeah, that's bizarre. I doubt this was maybe it was a slight influence on it. I don't know. The attack on London. It's not very often you really see movies where London gets absolutely demolished. So.
Yeah, to some degree, I always do wonder like how much influence because you know, like I mentioned the stuff at the start. Like in some way, did it influence Event Horizon? You know, like, you know, did like Paul Anderson see this as a kid and he semi-forgot about it and it's stuck in his head in somewhere and it's influenced some of the...
Event Horizon, I think that's the reason Event Horizon's so watchable, because it's like just a mishmash of about 5 different other good movies. It's a bit Alien, it's a bit this, it's a bit Hellraiser, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say a lot of these sort of big movies, you know, for like true cinema lovers growing up as kids who turn into movie directors and stuff, it's hard for them to not be influenced by a whole slew of stuff like this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So highlights?
I think one that sticks in my head is the amazing bit where Space Girl like manifests from blood.
Yeah, that's like, one of my first highlights.
Yeah, when the 2 corpses are in the helicopter being transported back for some reason. I don't know why they were keeping the corpses on them. But yeah, the blood like streams out the body's eyes and mouths. Yeah. And yeah, she just kind of like manifests in midair and in the shape of her, but like made out of blood.
Yeah,
it's really nice.
It's a really like striking shot because she only appears for like maybe 3 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then like loses her shape and just turns into a pool of blood again.
Yeah. But yeah, that's one of those moments where like I don't know, you can imagine like flicking the channels over at like 1 a.m. and just flicking onto that scene and going, "What the fuck is this?" Like with
Yeah.
no context, it's even better.
Because they're like upside down and reverse like photography that's going on.
Yeah.
With the blood streaming out the eyes and
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, even in the context of that, me watching the movie, I was like, "What the fuck's going on?"
you like look away for a minute and go,
Yeah.
"What?"
I think I like reached over to grab me coffee and looked back and went, "Fuck's happening?"
It's just a cool scene they wanted to do.
Like honestly, when the film ended, like when the credits started, this was my reaction. I just went, "Okay."
I was just glued throughout the entire
Yeah.
movie. This really good.
Like I wasn't like this. That wasn't like
No,
being
no,
mean
no.
about it. It was just my reaction was just to like chuckle and say, "Okay." I was like, "All right, that was Lifeforce, folks."
Like mental. Yeah, I could list a lot of my highlight scenes really, but the one other really cool bit that stuck out for me was the male vampire who's like full on embodies Pinhead towards the end of the movie when he goes like, "It'll be much less terrifying if you just come to me."
Yeah,
Proper sounds like Pinhead.
he does.
And then the Kane character's like, "I'll do just that," and stabs him with a sword.
Stabs
That was a
him
good
right
scene.
in the belly button. Apparently, that's the weak point for vampires, space vampires. Right
Yeah,
in the
not
belly
in the
button.
heart.
No,
It's right in the centre of the mass. That guy, by the way, that played the vampire, he's Mick Jagger's brother.
I saw a Jagger in the
Chris
credits.
Jagger. Yeah.
Did you say that Toby Hooper wanted Billy Idol to play one of the male vampires?
Yeah, which would kind of make sense. Like two vampires, like one's Chris Jagger and the other's Billy
Yeah.
Idol. Yeah, two connections to rock.
Yeah.
And stuff. Yeah.
I could totally see. It's a shame because I could totally see Billy Idol playing like a cool, terrifying vampire. It's like amazing he never got that chance.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think it was like scheduling and stuff really that just got in the way.
Yeah, 'cause this was peak Billy Idol, 85, wasn't it? Really. So.
But what about you? Any particular stand-up?
I like because it was weirdly, I didn't expect it to unsettle us as much as it did. The moment where the first victim wakes up on the autopsy table.
Oh yeah.
He's awful, like moans and screams he was doing. It really freaked us out.
Disorientated and stuff. Yeah, there's kind of a chillingness to it. How like they kind of all realise like, oh my god, this is like the situation that's on our hands right now.
Yeah.
Like these people die and then they come back, and like fuck, this is really bad.
Yeah.
There's a real good sense of dread.
There's definitely no romantic, because obviously these are supposed to be where the mythos or like where mythical vampires came from. Like they've always been aliens, and there's no like romanticizing vampirism in this at all.
No.
No.
And it's a really interesting thread, actually. You know, the idea of, you know, vampires are actually creatures that have come from another planet and that they visited our planet previously. And that they're just creatures that like suck the life force.
Yeah.
And that's how they live. They're not actually like bloodsuckers or anything. But you can kill them by stabbing them through the central mass. But I could say like through folklore, that's like misinterpreted as getting stabbed in the heart by a wooden stake.
Yeah.
And they drink blood and they're scared of daylight. But it's like, that's just the folklore stuff. But yeah, I mean, Christ, I would probably list this entire movie as a highlight for me. Like,
Oh, have we got a new favourite discovered?
too right. I love the shit out of this.
You can buy the 4K when it comes out.
I literally went straight online and bought the Arrow Blu-ray. So,
Oh, very good, very good.
so yes, very good. Loved it. Just proper me. Weird, unusual science fiction. I love stuff like this.
Excellent. Oh, I'm glad.
Yeah. Criticisms though.
Just kind of what I said before was me main criticism. I said kind of lost us a little bit for a while after the first 45 minutes, where it's just like the investigative part.
Yeah.
But it's just, I wouldn't necessarily say that's a criticism. It's not the film's, it's kind of the film's fault that just the first 45 minutes is like so strong and like intriguing.
Yeah, I think there's just definitely a person issue. It stands in the way of the mental ending because it's like you've got the intriguing start and then the slow build into the mental ending. But in the middle, you've got that like bit that kind of hurts the pacing of the film a little bit.
Yeah.
Like definitely.
But then again, you know, if the film was just 2 hours of insanity, it would get too much.
True.
You,
True.
you do need a breather at some point.
Yeah. I think certainly a fair criticism is, although I understand it's like not enough Matilda May, obviously. Like I think like it's a shame that she disappears for a chunk of the movie and
She's
stuff.
probably got the fucking flu, walking around naked all the time.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, because they filmed it at winter. I saw. So like the bits outside apparently were like really hard for her to film.
I can imagine. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, there's a bit where she's like walking through it's kind of like the woods or something. It's when she first escapes.
Yeah.
And apparently, like, those people hiding behind, like, every tree with blankets and stuff. Like, trying to keep her warm and stuff.
I did say, though, that, like, between takes, she wouldn't, like, rush and put a robe on. She would just, like, chat with the crew naked and stuff. And everyone was like, it was hard to maintain eye contact.
I can imagine.
Yeah,
Christ,
Jesus.
Just as a funny anal sort of like criticism of the movie, me immersion was totally ruined when British soldiers at one point had those Austrian style AUG assault rifles. I was like, excuse me, but the British infantry in the 1980s were using SA-80s. Not AUGs. I mean, Fedus primarily they did get use in. I think it was in the Falklands, the Falkland Island Defence Force, but they're not strictly British troopers. So, but anyway, just being anal about my hardware there.
Do you want old Jamie there for a second?
Kicking off about the guns and stuff. It's not right.
You got it wrong.
Trying to think that there might be like something else where I was like, that's not. Oh yeah, that was at the start of the movie. They're like, they established quite quickly. Oh, you know, this is a British-led mission, and I think at one point they're like, they say something like, "Mission Control, Great Britain, come back," and they're like, "Yeah, so you're clear for a departure and stuff." And then at one point somebody just goes, "Houston, we have a problem." And it's like, hang on. Like, is it Houston or is it Mission Control Great Britain? You fucking idiots. But I guess they just had to have that, like, that famous line in there, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
So yeah, I think I can see the criticisms, but I really love this film. It's definitely a film I would go back to and watch
It's
again.
definitely a lot of fun. Yeah. And, you know, Toby Hooper's filmography is just a bit mental. It's all over the place.
It is, yeah. I mean, coming straight off Poltergeist to do this.
Yeah,
Crazy.
like a big, like, mainstream Spielberg hit, and then he just goes to Canon and makes this. Like, what the
And then
fuck?
obviously, ultimately, you know, I think his third film for Canon was Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Yeah.
So again, like, just polar opposites.
Yeah. And there's the
of what
one in
this film
between,
is.
Invaders from Mars, which I guess you should probably watch as well.
Yeah, because that's a remake, isn't it, as well? That, I think.
Yeah, like a 50s movie.
Yeah, I should watch that, actually. I think, I'm sure there's Arrow done that or something, probably, or somebody will have done that, right?
I think Arrow have, yeah.
Yeah, or a Screen Factory or something.
Yeah, it's definitely had a release. I'm not sure if it's either both or one or the other.
Yeah. Yes, I guess, well, no video games, obviously.
Shame.
No action figures. No Space Girl action figures.
Yeah.
Anatomically correct and all. But there is quite a lot of art. So the Arrow Blu-ray release, the most recent one, had Gary Pullen do some art for. Not really my style. They're like neon pink and stuff.
It's an interesting way to go, I guess.
Yeah, but I like it. It's cool, and he's a very popular artist. He's doing like quite a lot of horror stuff at the moment.
Oh, nice.
But then Jacob Van Loon, who does pretty cool, like one of the sort of dummies on the cover, the like desiccated bodies, with the Big Ben in the background.
Yep,
that's pretty nice. And I really like the art sent by Stephen Andrade, which is like a sort of fake sci-fi pulpy comic cover.
Yeah, that one's really nice.
Really nice. Just the like hidden aspect of the Batwing and her hair, and obviously the boobs. I mean, it's one of the fucking standout moments in the movie. It's quite a big thing in the movie.
Yeah, we don't mean to be blokey, but you know, if you've seen the movie, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah,
it's just, you can't not mention it.
Exactly. No, it's so like literally present in the movie.
They're basically a separate character in the
movie. Yeah, definitely gratuitous nakedness. But yeah, really, really nice. I love like some of the sort of fake like quotes and stuff, and you know, just all the like a titillating tale of terror and stuff. All
they've called like the story that's in the magazine "The Space Girl."
Yeah. And then just obviously, I won't go through them, but like there's just quite a glut of cool international movie posters for this film.
Yeah, so you don't really see this anymore. Like how varied the designs would be for different countries, just to appeal to that country. Like the Japanese poster looks like a completely different movie from the Italian poster or the American poster. Yeah, I miss that. I miss like the real alternate poster art days. You know what I mean?
Just really like speaking to the culture and the public of that country, basically. Yeah.
Like what's that country? Is it Poland or Croatia that has those posters that are almost like modern art.
Yeah, I know the ones you mean. You always see like Star Trek and Star Wars and Terminator.
Terminator, yeah, that's the one I always remember. Yeah,
Yeah.
but those are like those posters are insanely original.
Yeah, yeah.
Blu-ray, I guess. It doesn't have a 4K in the UK yet, but it does in the US. Screen Factory put out a 3-disc set, so you get the 4K of the theatrical cut only, and Blu-rays of the theatrical and the extended international cut, and it's got a bunch of featurettes and documentaries and all that type of stuff. And commentaries, sorry, not documentaries.
Yeah.
The Arrow Blu-ray release contains both versions of the film too, but like I said, it's not no 4K yet. They'll do it eventually.
I would have thought so, yeah. Yeah, because it's scanned from a 4K, isn't it? Mm-hmm. The Blu-ray I saw.
Yeah, so they'll be getting around to it at some point, yeah. And yes, same extras pretty much as the Scream Factory one. But there's 2 releases of the Arrow one. There's an older one, and then there's the new one where it has the 4K transfer, and the title is blue rather than pink, so that's how you tell the difference.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Lifeforce.
And I just realised we've been talking about that for 40 minutes.
Yeah, it's going to be a big one.
Champion Cinema.
So we're moving 1 year further on to the Vamp. So it came out in 1986 with a runtime of 1 hour 33 minutes. Directed by Richard Wank. I'm just kidding. Richard Wank. Just think unfortunate surname. Starring Chris Makepeace as Keith, Robert Russler as AJ, Dudi Pfeiffer as Alison, Sandy Barron as Vic, I can't. Geddy? Giddy?
I think it's Geddy. Geddy Watanabe.
Yeah, I should have looked at that before. Tried to pronounce it. Geddy Watanabe as Duncan, Grace Jones, of course, as Katrina, and Billy Drago as Snow. So, what's the film about?
Well, no love for Sandy Barron as Vic, who's my favourite character.
Did I not? I thought I said Sandy Barron.
Oh, did you?
I thought I did.
Oh,
if
sorry.
I didn't, then absolutely Sandy Barron.
Yeah,
of course, Jack Clumpus, the amazing Floridian from
Take the pen!
Totally. Space pen!
So, Keith and AJ head to a rough part of town with hopes of acquiring a stripper for a party with hopes it will help them become members of a twatty fraternity in college. However, wouldn't you know it, the strip club is a front for vampires, headed by Grace Bloody Terrifying Jones. Interestingly, I forgot that Richard Wank, because I remember the first time I watched this, I was like, his name sounds familiar. He wrote the first 2 Expendables movies.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
and all the Equalizer movies.
Oh, bless him.
Yeah, and he's wrote a couple of Statham movies. Just seems to... It's funny, his filmography, if you look at it. There's just big gaps, and then he just comes back and writes a shitload of action movies over the past 10 years. Yeah.
I mean, you're in trouble in terms of director-wise when you look him up, and one of the movies he's listed as being known for is Vamp. You're like, oh yeah, he's not done a great deal of directing.
No, he hasn't really.
But but it's interesting that he seems to have done a bit of writing work and stuff. So good on him for still making those paychecks and stuff.
Yeah,
and
exactly. Yeah.
He's obviously had some pretty big paydays over the years.
Yeah, a couple 2 Expendables, all those Equalizer movies did really well. So.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So this is your first time seeing... I haven't seen it for a while, actually, but it's your first time watching Vamp. What did you think of Vamp?
Oh, it was weird. Fucking weird. I mean...
Lifeforce isn't exactly fucking straightforward.
I guess. I definitely enjoyed Lifeforce more than this film. I wasn't expecting it to be a comedy, actually, so that kind of caught us off guard a little bit. The start of this movie is just not the movie you're expecting, basically. It's like... Ferris Bueller's Day Off, sort of, almost, to begin with. I mean, it's interesting how it opens with a false start. Yeah. That's kind of cool. I like that. It's, a satanic ritual, but it's not. It's just some bullshit pledge house thing.
Well, that's what I was going to get. Frat houses and initiations and all that bollocks. As a British person, I've never understood it. What's the point? What is the point of all this frat house bullshit?
Yeah. Just some weird thing that's just started as one thing, and then over the years it's mutated into something that's insane.
Some weird rite of passage bullshit. Yeah. I did laugh at that guy though when he's complaining that someone folded his shirt and it just cuts to the other guy going, "Wasn't me." I don't know why that cracked us up.
Yeah, very strange though. The comedy's it just massively caught us off guard.
Oh really?
And not necessarily in a bad way, but I just thought, I was kind of geared up for I don't know, a straight up vampire horror film with
Well, I
Grace
guess,
Jones.
when you know Grace Jones is the villain, you think it's going to be pretty hardcore, don't you?
Yeah. And then especially with Watanabe's character Duncan and stuff. I mean, firstly, I know him he's the cameraman from Gremlins 2. I immediately was like, it's the dude from Gremlins 2.
Yeah, I was trying to think, because the two things I know him from is 16 Candles, and I think he's the karate instructor guy in UHF, the Weird Al movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was going to say, it's refreshing to see him in an 80s movie and he's not playing the Asian guy, the stereotypical. He's just like a guy who just happens to be Asian. You know what I mean?
that is a good point. They're never really... Yeah, it's not like, he I don't know, he's got fucking gadgets or something.
Yeah,
don't do
or
the
he's
Goonies route or something.
not doing the accent.
Yeah, he's just like the rich guy.
Yeah.
It kind of made us think. For a beat, I thought about... and 10 Things I Hate About You, the character in that, what's he called?
Bogey Lones.
Bogey Lonesome, yeah. When he's in his like little golfing outfit and stuff, I just thought, did that inspire that movie for a moment? Because comedy, the comedy threw us off, but I did love his character, to be fair. I thought like I wanted just more of him basically in the movie.
He's got some good, but especially later on when he's just shit-faced wandering around the club by himself, he's got some good lines. He goes up to that waitress and says, "What time do you get off?" Just says about 2:30. He's like, "Can I watch?"
And then he laughs, he cracks himself up. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I just could have had more of him basically throughout the entire film.
You know what I forgot was in it though? I forgot Billy Bloody Drago was in it, another scary human being.
yeah, like rocking, very like believably rocking the albino look. Because he's normally has like jet black hair or something, doesn't he?
Usually, yeah.
So he looks fucking mental in this film.
Are they like associated with the Grace Jones crew, or are they just like a separate group? At one point I was like, oh yeah, these all link together. This whole fight, because they have a battle with them, like not a battle, but a little scuffle with them in a diner. Yeah. And I thought, oh yeah, I think I remember these all link up to them in the bar, but no.
I almost for one moment I thought, oh, they're like vampire hunters.
Yeah.
Because they don't outwardly say the vampires, really.
You think, so because it's a vampire movie, you think the chick at the start is a vampire. Yeah. Because with the teeth and stuff, but no, I think she's just got janky teeth.
Yeah, that's what I was literally going to comment on. Like, has she just got bad teeth? Is that the joke?
I think so.
Very
and then
strange.
there's the whole thing with, like, the little vampire girl as well.
Yeah. And, because she kills one of Snow's crew. Mm-hmm, yeah. So I guess they're not vampires.
No.
But it's just all very strange.
Just a random gang. It's supposed to be a kind of shithole area of the city, I suppose.
Well, also, and some of this kind of fits into criticisms, to be fair, so we'll probably loop back around, but, I kind of got the impression they, went into an alternate universe, because the car, skids and spins for a couple of minutes. It's like... So for one moment, they're in a normal place, and they lose control of the car and they spin out, and you get the impression they've slipped into an alternate universe or something.
Well, I was going to say, the style, the way the movie's shot, it feels like the whole movie's a dream. Not that it is, but it feels like it's shot like a dream sequence in a movie would be shot, with the angles and stuff, and the crazy lighting is straight out of a fucking Argento movie. Yeah,
I wouldn't have been shocked if I'd seen trivia that said there was an original alternate ending where the Keith character just wakes up and goes, "Whoa, what a dream!"
Yeah,
or something. Definitely, yeah, because it does have that strange feel about it. Certain characters just aren't quite reacting as you probably would expect they should do, like in Mortal Danger and stuff and that.
Yeah, it does have a very odd tone to it. Yeah,
but yeah, so I mean, interesting people character actors and stuff in this movie, and Robert Russler.
Yeah, I do like Robert Russell.
Yeah, because he's from is it Nightmare on Elm Street 2?
2, Weird Science.
Yeah. He's got a great look.
He does. Yeah.
If anything, massive surprise when he dies.
I remember being surprised when he died the first time I watched it. Because I was like, damn it!
Yeah. But pleased that they bring him back in that way and stuff, as a vampire and stuff.
Well, that dies twice basically.
Yeah.
I do like that kind of nice little twist that the wood he stabbed him with is Formica, so it didn't work.
Go figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah. But yeah, I suppose we should talk about one of the primary things about this movie is Grace Jones.
Yeah. That's the main reason I wanted to say it, because I hadn't seen it. I didn't see it when I was young. I think I saw it like 10 years ago. And mainly because I think I said to you when you were showing us the art, I was like, yeah, I think I remember that box. That may be why I never wanted to watch it. It's like, Grace Jones freaked me out when I was a kid anyway. Like, even in View to a Kill, I was like, she's scary.
Yeah. Like, her intro into this movie is like mental.
Yeah.
Like, it's a whole thing. I can imagine the day of shooting, Grace Jones was probably like, well, the director was probably like, we're just going to get a few angles, but then we're going to cut. And then Grace Jones was like, film me, darling, and don't turn the camera off. And they're like, okay.
And then fucking slapped him or something. I don't know.
Exactly. Like, fucking bit him on the neck or something. Just went nuts. So they were just like, right, just keep the camera rolling. Because it's like the whole sequence. She does the whole dance routine.
Yeah.
Like, whited up as well. There's a twist on the whole blackface. She's got white face on.
Yeah. Never really thought about that.
She looks great. Obviously, the kind of riffing off Blade Runner, I guess, with a look.
Yeah, I guess they are. Yeah.
Like, with the makeup and the hair.
Bob hair, yeah.
Yeah, but it's a great look, though.
It is.
Really striking sort of bit of the movie. You can't take your eyes off her.
I can imagine, like, all the reactions, like the open-mouthed, wide-eyed reactions of everyone watching is probably genuine.
Yeah, because she'll have just been doing her thing, because fucking Grace Jones is just... she is what she is, but she's like crazy in front of a camera, basically.
Yeah.
It's probably scary to work with in some ways. Like, I imagine that Robert Rustler, when he was like lying with his top off, he probably was fucking shitting himself. Didn't know what she was gonna do.
I'd say I want to like see a making of this. Like, I'm gonna have to get the Blu-ray at some point, so because I'm sure they talk about it. I'm sure he talks about it on the interviews and stuff. Because Grace Jones is always one of those people that I'm always like, is it just like a big act, like a public thing? I wonder what she's like in the morning.
Yeah.
Just the first thing in the morning.
Yeah, she's like more down to earth, or she
like
just
behind closed doors, is she just like quite chill, or is she just she just feels like from a persona that she's one of those people that's just intense 24 hours a day.
Yeah. I mean, what a thing for his CV, getting like full body licked by bloody Grace Jones. Like, oh my god, crazy. But the vampire stuff, like her transformation and stuff, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's one of the more, like, it's always freaky in a vampire movie when the teeth are first bared, and they're like, some movies go a bit tame with the facial morphing and stuff, but the way she just, transforms is terrifying.
Yeah, like, even like her toenails go all long and scummy and stuff, and it's like,
gross.
Yeah. And then the neck bite and licking, I've never seen that in a vampire film. That's one thing this film's got. It makes you feel proper uncomfortable. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, this is another movie that does not romanticize like being bitten by a vampire at all.
No, it's not like a gentle bite.
She just like bites a slit in his neck and starts just licking and sucking the wounds.
Yeah, and it's like it's done really grotesquely. Where you're like, fucking hell, you like kind of like have to look away from it a little bit, but you're like, but then you can't look away.
No.
So yeah, I suppose again, like, criticisms almost this fits into, but what a waste to not use Grace Jones more.
Yeah,
really.
It makes us wonder if it was some sort of just like she only worked a couple of days. Do you know what I mean? Like 3 days, shot all her scenes, and then that was it. Like, I don't know, because it's good that she's not overly used, but I would like to see her more in the movie and get more vampire stuff to do, because it's mainly only 2 scenes, right, where she's like vamping out, I guess.
Yeah.
And there's that scene where she like rips out that poor waitress's heart really brutally, which is just quite funny in a dark way.
And apparently it was her choice to like play it silently. Apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She wanted to like do a sort of almost like Nosferatu sort of performance.
Makes sense, and it's creepy because she doesn't talk. Yeah.
So it's not like the director decided not to have a talk or anything.
No. But because all she does really is like snarls a lot and laughs in one scene. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, interesting.
I tell you what I do like in the movie though, Dee Pfeiffer, Michelle's sister.
Yeah.
Like, she's lovely. I wish she was in more stuff like around like 80s horror around this time.
Yeah, she's got like again, she like really steals the show. If anything, like Robert Rustler and Chris Makepeace, like they're kind of like battered by the females in this movie. Really, their performance come off weak because she really stands out. Like, she's really charismatic. Yeah, she has like a real sweet and like bubbly energy in the movie. It comes over like really, really good. Although her character does confuse me a little bit because I was convinced she was actually a vampire.
Yeah, it does try and convince you really hard that she might be a vampire by the end, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that was the point, so I can't criticise the movie, but it's just a bit like, I don't know, what was the point in that character?
Weirdly as well, she's in an episode of Seinfeld as well.
Oh, really?
She's the, the episode where George decides to... It's just the one called The Opposite, where he does the opposite of his instincts.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes up to that woman in the diner and says, like, my name's George, I don't have a job and I live with my parents. And she's like, hi. That's it.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, like you said, I really would have liked to see her in more films.
Yeah.
At the time. Yeah, it's surprising that she wasn't, really. Because she has such a great look for, like, the mid-80s.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Like, at least, like, Nightmare on Elm Street film or something, or...
Yeah, because I remember, like, the first time I watched this, I was like, oh, yeah, what else was she in, like, in the 80s, like, of a film like this, like a horror or comedy? And I was like, oh, no, it's just this, really?
Yeah, interesting there.
Yeah.
But, speaking of Seinfeld, obviously, we did mention Sandy Barron again as another person. I think that kind of steals the show a little bit.
He does. I fucking love that bit where he just calls the waitress over and puts little umbrellas in the glass and he goes, class!
So,
cracks us up.
Again, I kind of want to just see a film about him.
I would love a film just about him, just some like guy like who, and also he doesn't really come across as that much of an evil bastard.
No, he's kind of the victim in it all. Really, you
feel like he's stuck there.
Yeah, because he's just dreaming of running a club in Vegas.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, it's nice how. Is it the the Keith character that kind of twists it around? He says oh, give us a drink because that's what they were doing. Oh, was it AJ? No, I can't remember which character.
No, it's the Keith character.
It is the Keith character. Yeah. Right, yeah, he says pay for me last drink because that's what they're doing in Vegas, and like
he gets all excited. Is
that what they were doing in Vegas? And stuff. Yeah. And then just a really tragic the way his character goes out.
Yeah,
he just sits and has a drink and
on fire,
and goes up in flames. Yeah. So I really liked him. Yeah, and immediately I was like, as soon as he was on camera, I was like, who the fuck's he?
Yeah,
and I was like, oh god, it's the guy from Seinfeld.
Yeah, because he really stands out in Seinfeld. Yeah. Take the pen.
I don't want the pen.
Take the pen.
Yeah, it's such a great bit. Yeah, really strong, randomly strong cast. Really,
it does have a really good cast. Yeah.
But
here comes the butt.
Like, fucking what a mess of a movie. To be fair, I know we've not really done positives, but I think I just kind of want to, because we've already talked about some of the negatives. Like, I feel like as soon as AJ dies, the film's just massively derailed.
Yeah, it does kind of like meander about for a bit, doesn't it, really?
The Keith character kind of fucks about. He goes back to the, Alison's apartment block because she wants to change her top, and he loses her, and he almost gets squished by an elevator, and then he fucking runs about in the sewers and gets chased by a bin wagon. It's just like, you could just tell they didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah, it kind of feels like just time filler, all that stuff, even though it shouldn't be, because it's like it's all action and suspense stuff. But yeah, the film kind of stops while he just dicks around for a bit. Yeah. But then again, that's also the stuff that almost makes it feel like a dream sequence. Just random shit keeps happening.
Yeah, true. I just think it might have been a tighter movie if almost like it was a prototype of From Dusk Till Dawn. Like, they realised it was a vampire bar and they were trapped there, and then they had to fight their way out or something.
Yeah.
And it just would have been a stronger movie rather than...
thinking about it, fuck me, it is fucking From Dusk Till Dawn.
It really is. It feels randomly like a
fucking Tarantino, man, for fuck's sake.
Just stealing other people's ideas.
Yeah, it's just From Dusk Till Dawn with less feet.
Definitely, yeah, and you've got the big stripper dance scene and stuff. And,
exactly, fucking hell.
Just very, very strange riff on it. It just, like I said, the pacing's really weird. I suppose, is this a good thing or a bad thing? But I never knew what was going to happen next in the movie.
That's a good thing, especially for a movie from like 1986.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
You would think like it was just full of. You'd expect to be able to second guess exactly what was going to happen. So I think that's a good thing.
Because even like the very start, well, not the very start, but when they go they go looking for a stripper, and they end up in the cafe, and like as you said, Snow's gang come in, and they have like that bit of a face off against them, but then like AJ just like basically batters them. Like, I wasn't expecting that as well. You know, they're like kind of quiet and meek, and there's this dangerous gang comes wandering in, and they're all like tough guys, and the barman or the cafe owner, who's a priest, is like, oh shit, I'm in trouble here. And then AJ just stands up and grabs Snow by the dick,
Grabs Billy Drago's fucking cock and balls, and almost tears them off.
Yeah, it's like, I was not expecting that, and that's like my entire experience of the movie, just going, what the fuck, I wasn't expecting that. Very strange.
It's like that little character trait he has that like he hates it when his clothes get messed up. Pisses him off.
Yeah, he just goes like straight to 11 if anybody messes with his clothes.
Tell you one thing, speaking of clothes, do you not think Keith looked like a young Riggs circa Lethal Weapon 2 in this movie?
Yeah.
With his little jacket and shirt on, his little mullet and stuff.
Yeah, shirt and stuff, yeah. Yeah, because again, like, probably the weakest element of this movie is him, to be honest.
Come on, you can't say that about fellow Chris. Come on.
Unfortunately, he's let the name down. I think, like, out of everybody, he's kind of, I don't know if it's his fault or if it's just that the content wasn't there for him.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Because he just doesn't have the most. You know, amongst a sea of like randomly like charismatic people, like I said, Dee Pfeiffer, Sandy Barron, Grace Jones, like Billy Drago, like he's really overshadowed by everyone in the movie.
I think that's what it is. I think that's what it is. Yeah.
One thing that did get a big laugh out of us as well. Again, talk about films randomly potentially being influenced by other films. When he's flirting with the goofy vampire in the cafe, and she's like sucking on a bit of licorice, and the Keith character is kind of like winking and like raising his eyebrows. I proper got notes of Napoleon Dynamite, like, you know, the older brother, when he's flirting with is it like LaShonda or whatever the character's called? Yeah. And he's like doing that, like raising his eyebrows and stuff. I thought, fuck me, that's like almost scene for scene like the same faces that he's pulling. Like, is that a like secret nod?
Maybe
almost to this film. Who knows?
Yes. What about specific highlights? I mean, mine are obviously the 2 times Grace Jones vamps out, especially the end. I think she looks even more terrifying bald. yeah,
there's something like otherworldly about her, isn't there? Yeah.
I think the thing that fucks us up with it is it's how big they've made the fangs and how wide she can open her mouth. Like, it looks unnatural, and it's not an effect, it's just Grace Jones.
It's weird though, isn't it, that a lot of 80s kind of American-y films did this with like Freak Show Fright Night, like super teethy vampires.
Yeah, they're like the big bear-sized fangs, don't they?
Yeah, not like, you know, like Interview with a Vampire type fangs or anything. It's like humongous, like you said, like animal teeth. Yeah, sticking out. They're crazy, but it works on Grace Jones though, definitely.
Oh, definitely. There was one of the dancers as well, and I got a mad deja vu while looking her up, because I was like, I've obviously did this before the first time I watched the movie. The dancer that in the movie is called Cimarron. She's like the one that's kind of dominatrixy with the whip. Yeah. Because I was like, she's nice. So I was like, who's that again? So I looked her up, and her name's Lisa Lyon. She was like kind of in the late 70s. She was kind of like the Arnie of female bodybuilders. She was like a pioneer of female bodybuilding, and she was the inspiration for the Elektra character in Daredevil that Frank Miller created. I was like, that's interesting. Yeah. And then I was like, this all seems very familiar. I must have like went, whew, the first time I watched it. Looked her up.
She does stand out again, her, doesn't she?
She does. Yeah. And she gets a vampire moment as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a funny bit when Duncan's, because isn't like Duncan watching her do a bit, and it's something, I can't remember what it is, but there's something about his reaction to her that again got a bit of a pop out of us. The only thing that just popped into my head, and I just want to mention, the only thing that is, well, no, I'll tell you what, I will save it criticism. We'll do criticisms. I keep wanting to criticise this movie, although we've done criticisms, really.
Kind of.
I'll just throw it in now. Would 2 young teenage lads looking for a stripper for a night at a fraternity house see Grace Jones aggressively humping a chair and be like, she's perfect?
I
for our
mean,
fraternity nights.
maybe if they want to like freak out the fraternity.
Like, you know, the S&M lass that we're just talking about, she's more your more pick.
Yeah.
For like a
Yeah, I think
stripper.
she'd go over really well at a frat house. Yeah.
You don't want to have Grace Jones aggressively dry humping your fellow pledges
Yeah.
at some party and ruining the
I mean,
mood.
that would be a great alternate version of the movie. Grace Jones goes, yeah, right, and then goes back and kills all the frat house.
Yeah, true. So many
But I
other
mean,
movies.
maybe the like line of thinking was like, well, they did put in like a weird fake satanic hanging ritual. Maybe they'll like this.
we'll get them back.
The fucking weirdos. Yeah.
But yeah, it's clear highlight for me is just the Vic stuff, basically.
Yeah, and he's not in it enough.
Yeah, and just a really fascinating idea about him wanting to, because he's like familiar, I guess, right? He's not a vampire. He's like, he's been like, his life's been extended through like sucking on the blood.
Yeah, because he
But
like sucks like Grace Jones's like wrist at one point.
Yeah, because they do that whole thing where he's eating bugs and stuff. So it's like, you know, that like Dracula familiar sort of.
If I was Richard Wink and I was in the editing room, I would have been like writing down notes to do a prequel instantly about his character.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, because also you get a sense, he mentions, doesn't he, but he's been running the club for like 70 years.
75 years, I think.
Yeah. So it's obviously like there's a lot of backstory there.
Yeah. There's a prequel I want with Vic, just called Vic.
Yeah, definitely.
Or it's called Class.
Yeah, totally.
I can see the title font now with a little umbrella on it.
But it's just one other random thing that stuck out to me that I thought was cool, and there is definitely some cool creativity in this movie. The use of a stiletto. When he's like fighting against one of the vampire chicks, and he's like backstage, and he grabs like a shoe, and straight away I was like, oh, he's gonna like kill her with a stiletto, and he does, and I don't know, it just randomly felt creative, you know, like a strip joint that's run by vampires, and one of them gets sticked with a stiletto.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It just felt like kind of cool, and it was such a throwaway moment, but I thought, it's just funny, like little highlights in this movie that if it was just a little bit tighter and a little bit pulled together a bit more.
Yeah, like I said, that's my main criticism. Just wish it was a bit tighter in the middle, kind of like Lifeforce. It's a sad, like common criticism of films that just don't quite get there. There's always just something off with the middle portion of the movie. Like start strong, end strong. The middle, you're always like, nah.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't want films to just be 100 miles an hour constantly because it'll get too much. But I know what you mean. I agree.
But yeah, fun like double bill to watch anyway. Very opposite ends of the spectrum, both movies.
Opposite ends, but both movies that are like lesser thought of when it comes to, 'cause, you know, there's a lot of vampire movies in the 80s. And these ones are always like second tier, I guess, maybe third tier.
Yeah.
It's kind of unfair because they've both got a lot to offer, I think, if you haven't seen them before.
I think culturally this movie as well is quite interesting as a whole. It's obvious like how big Grace Jones was for like that period, you know, just following like the Bond movie and Conan and stuff.
Yeah, Conan, yeah.
And like even the trailer. I watched that original trailer that I sent you, like all the way to the very end, and like at the very end, I can't remember what the guy says, but he says starring blah blah blah, and he's like, and also of course Grace Jones. Yeah, and it's like she was such a big deal.
She was, yeah, because I remember her just being really prevalent growing up on TV and on Top of the Pops and stuff like that, and I would watch like View to a Kill and Conan a lot. So
just weird though, isn't it? Like, we kind of commented on this, but like it's almost like a misrepresentation of this movie that you would think she's like the main thing in this film, you know, the main attraction and stuff. Yeah. Where just she's hardly in it, basically. I guess that's you know, one of we've already said it, but like she probably should have been in the movie much more. And like it's like the people that made this movie are acknowledging how much of a big deal she is. So why didn't they just put her in the movie more?
Yeah, and not like, you know, not like an extra 20 minutes of Grace, just one more scene maybe. One more scene of her doing something else, like something evil, you know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, fun. So I guess there's no new art. Well, there was a bit of new art that was said that Rick Melton did for the old Arrow DVD.
Yeah, but there's no, I had a quick look about, there isn't really a strong like alternate movie poster art that's been done recently. But there has been some great movie art over the years, which sadly is very difficult to figure out who's done the art for. And stuff.
That's what we were talking about before. If anyone knows of a place that is a good source of information for old school poster artists and what they did and who did what and all that type of stuff. Because there's a few, obviously, that we know. Like what was mentioned, Enzo Sciorri. And there's people, obviously people like Drew Struzan and stuff who did loads of classic stuff.
Yeah.
But like, it's just like we're talking about how I was trying to find out who did the original poster for 10 to Midnight last week, and it's just like, where the fuck would I go to find that? Even a poster website that was that, it was an old vintage poster database. Even they were like, no idea.
It used to be like an IMDb, but just for art.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, just like we always talk about, there needs to be an IMDb specifically for animal actors.
Yeah. Shakma's the main attraction.
When I'm watching like a movie with an orangutan in it in the early 80s, I'm like, is that Clyde? I want to know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you think in this day and age there would be like shit like that, you know, like
we need
specific
to
sites.
we need to start it basically. That's what we need
I
to do.
was thinking that, like, I wonder if there's like how much effort. It's probably a shit ton of effort, but
Yeah,
like,
probably. Fuck it.
but it's too much work.
That idea was shot down in about 5 seconds.
I would add like 10 images, then be like, oh, bored.
Oh, it can't be bothered.
But it would be really good to run a website
would.
that just pulls together all this like art and who did the art and stuff.
Yeah. As for Blu-ray, it sadly doesn't seem to have had a US Blu-ray since 2011, and it was very bare bones. The Arrow Blu-ray has a 45-minute making of, a short vampire movie of wanks called Dracula Bites the Big Apple, and bloopers and rehearsal footage. There you go. Nice 45-minute making of, which would probably be worth a watch.
Yeah, I certainly think it's a movie if you're like a fan of the genre and stuff, or even like 80s sort of like comedy and stuff to some degree. Like, I think it's a good movie to own. I think it's an interesting piece. Like I said, in terms of like some of the creativity, the actors involved and stuff.
It's kind of like, how like Near Dark and Lost Boys makes a good double bill.
Yeah, definitely.
This and Fright Night would make a good double bill. As
Yeah.
far as the lighter, more comedic side of 80s vampire movies.
Yeah, no, I definitely would.
I was going to say to you, like, what the fuck would you double bill Lifeforce with? As if, like, it's kind of similar. No, what the fuck's like Lifeforce?
Like that Saturn 3 movie.
Yeah. Either that or just, like, I don't know, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Yeah. Just something where you're in for a wild ride.
Another mental Tobe Hooper movie. That's all you can do, really. So, right, we don't know what we're doing next week, but like we said, it's been a lot of 80s stuff recently, so we need to at least go to the 90s.
Yeah, we'll
Either the 70s or the 90s. That's what we need.
Let's move either decade, either way.
Yeah. Yeah, so until then, you can find us on social media on Instagram at Champion Cinema Pod. Go give us some reviews and all that jazz if you like the show on iTunes and whatever. And yeah.
Yes.
Till then, I'll see you down a bit.
See you in the heap.
Champion Cinema.